Is Representative Mr. Kevin Bautista, assisted by Annie Shai. The appointee, Mr. Edward M. Dilongero, elected officials, dignitaries, and members of the general public. Before we proceed forward with this public hearing, let me first introduce the members of this committee. To my right side of the aisle is the Vice President of the Senate, Senator Justo Quiliga from the 3rd Senatorial District, Saipan. And to my left side of the aisle is the floor leader of the Senate, Senator Benny Sablan from the 3rd Senatorial District, Saipan. And next to him is the Vice Chairman of this committee, Senator Victor D. Hoko from the 1st Senatorial District, Roda. And again, to my right side of the aisle is Senator Carl Kim Nevers from the 2nd Senatorial District, Tinian. And I'm the chairman of this committee, Senator Francisco Q. Cruz from the 2nd Senatorial District, Tinian. I would also like to announce a couple of things in the interest of informational purposes regarding code of conduct during this public hearing. Today, the members of this committee are conducting a public hearing on the appointment of Mr. Edward M. Dilongero to serve as the Secretary of the Department of Commerce. The public will be invited to make comments as to whether you support or oppose the appointee before us this afternoon. We value your input. However, any comments beyond the facts of the appointee or comments that are not directly related with this public hearing will not be entertained, and such comment will be removed from the record. At the same time, please observe minimal noises in disrupting this hearing process, and please turn your electronic to a silent mode. Thank you. Let us now begin this public hearing. It's now in session. 2021 at approximately 1:32 in the afternoon here in the Senate Chamber, Capital Saipan. This is a public hearing regarding the appointment of Mr. Edward M. Dilongero by Governor Ralph Dilongero Torres and Lieutenant Governor Arno I. Palacios to serve as the Secretary of the Department of Commerce, pursuant to Article 3, Section 14 of the Sinamay Constitution and Executive Order 94-3, subsection 103. Ms. Jolene Tagabel will be our clerk for this hearing.
Senator Justo S. Quiliga, Senator Benny F. Sablan. Mr. Chairman, all 5 members of the Senate EAGI committee are present.
Thank you, Jolene. With all 5 members present, we have the necessary number to proceed with this public hearing. At this time, do I have a motion to adopt agenda?
So, Mr. Chairman. Second.
There's a motion on the floor and was seconded. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. At this time, I'd like to ask the Sergeant on, please escort the appointee and the governor's rep. Let's go to the chamber, please. And sir, before you do your introduction on the governor's appointee, please state your name for the record. Thank you.
Mic test. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Buenos today and good afternoon. Senator Holcomb, Senator Kittagua, Senator Sablan, Senator Neighbors, and the general public present in the Senate chamber today. For the record, my name is Kevin Bautista, Press Secretary for the Office of the Governor. On behalf of Governor Ralph de Leon Guerrero Torres and Lieutenant Governor Arnold Indolecio Palacios, I thank you for the opportunity to come and testify before you today. I'm here to introduce the Governor and Lieutenant Governor's nominee for Secretary of Commerce, Mr. Edward Mosga de Leon Guerrero. Mr. de Leon Guerrero brings years of public and private sector experience within our Commonwealth government. Prior to his appointment as acting secretary, Mr. de Leon Guerrero served as the former registrar of corporation for the Department of Commerce. His extensive public service includes serving as a congressman in the 5th Northern Marianas Commonwealth Legislature, House of Representatives, executive director of the Commonwealth Ports Authority, a commissioner for the former MPLA, now MPLT board, a chief financial officer for the Commonwealth Health Center, secretary of Public Works, a dean of administration and business affairs at Northern Marianas College, and as a federal programs coordinator during the trust territory government period for the Commonwealth. If confirmed by this August body, he intends to make the CMI Department of Commerce a more well-rounded agency that will prioritize economic development, streamline business permitting, ensure proper data collection, and provide enforcement to safeguard businesses and consumers. Management and development of our economy is undoubtedly the most important priority of our Commonwealth, and it requires a comprehensive community approach from our villages to our private sector partners, our small businesses, along with careful planning and collaboration with leaders and citizens from all 3 senatorial districts. Mr. de Leon Guerrero intends to use his extensive business knowledge and public service background to assist the governor and lieutenant governor address this goal by working well with our private sector and federal partners. Governor Torres and Lieutenant Governor Palacios place their full trust and confidence in Mr. de Leon Guerrero to become the Commonwealth's next Secretary of Commerce. I know he stands ready to answer your questions and report on his plans for the future. His leadership, his extensive public service background, and willingness to work well with the private sector and federal partners will make the department better and the Commonwealth government much more efficient. Thank you, Zeus Mastinglisa, for the opportunity to introduce him to this August body, Mr. Chairman. We also thank you, Mr. Chairman, Senator Volkow, Senator Kittagua, Senator Sablan, and Senator King Neighbors for your leadership in providing an opportunity for our people in all 3 senatorial districts to listen and participate in your deliberation of critical positions for our Commonwealth. And for the record, Mr. Chairman, as well, thank you also for attending this morning's ARPA presentation. We hope you found the presentation useful. Talking to the Secretary of Finance, we'll be delivering the PowerPoint presentation shortly via email, and then we'll get you guys a hard copy. Thank you again, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Bautista. And before I recognize the appointee, I would like to ask the clerk to please administer you. Mr. Guerrero, can you please rise?
Mr. Edward M. de Leon Guerrero, you do solemnly swear under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you shall give in the matter at hand shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Thank you.
Thank you, clerk. Mr. de Leon Guerrero, I know that you have submitted the required documents by this committee and also delivered testimony from the first and second. And this is your 3rd public hearing. If you wish adding more testimony, you have the floor, but please, before you proceed, please state your name for the record. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and all the members of this August body. First, I'd like to just extend my appreciation to the governor and to the governor for having the confidence to appoint me as Secretary of Commerce. I just wanted to say a very short comments. As I was, mentioning in Kenya Aurora, that I want commerce to move forward, working with the leadership and the people of Kenya Aurora and the business community. It was just fortunate that this morning we had the ARPA presentation at the Fiesta Hotel, and we are very blessed to have all those resources available, for different segment and different section of our government operation. And it is a testimony that we really need to work together. Commerce need to sit down with the business people, the leadership of all three senatorial districts, and the public. I know that I have submitted my vision and objective for the Department of Commerce, but listening to the people of and the leadership of Indian Aurora and here in Saipan during this confirmation hearing, it has given me a vision to enhance, perhaps the vision that I put up to your committee earlier, and it gives me the satisfaction that in order for us to really use the money that's available, that was announced this morning, to the maximum benefit to our people and to our business community, we need to all work together so that we can have one common goal for Rotinian and Saipan, and work towards one or two or three different priorities that we can accomplish during this time, time that I will probably be Secretary of Commerce if I get blessed by the Senate. And with that, I am open and I welcome any comments, because I believe that listening to the comments of the people and everybody else is the only way for me to ensure that my vision and my goals and objective is actually addressing the concerns of the people in Commonwealth. With that, thank you, and I'm stand ready to answer any questions that the public or the members of the committee have. And I just want to say good afternoon to everyone that's in this chamber, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Mr. Lunguero. And before I recognize the members of the general public who are here to participate and giving testimony, first I would like to recognize those entities that are invited to participate. First on the list, the Honorable Mayor David Akatan, or any member of his office that is here to give testimony. No one? Let the record reflect that there's no one from the Mayor's office of Mayor Akatan. Members of the Saipan Municipal Council? Anyone from the Municipal Council? No one? Let the record reflect that there's no one from the Saipan Municipal Council. And before I open the floor for public comment, again, I would like to remind everyone that wishes to come forward to deliver testimony, whether you're in support or not in support, that any comments that are raised that are not directly related with this public hearing will not be entertained, and such comment will be removed from the record. At this time, if there's no objection from the members, I would like to open the floor for the public that wishes to deliver testimony. Public comment is now officially open. Anyone wishes to come forward, please. Before you start, please raise or state your name for the record. Thank you.
Buenos días, Chairman Cruz, members of the South Body. Mi nombre es David Martita, el director de Alcobeverage Tobacco Control of the Department of Commerce. Basta, Chairman mo na alam do kapkan sa kopotay i-nominin i-gobernador ka ng Lieutenant para Senior Edward Delaware. Abi na bala, tempo ko gini na makutano, abi algo kumpirma, iso katasyon, along gali, gimenan sila ang Chairman Cruz and members of the South Family na yun na pagtekum, ang tinanong mamalo, Senior Edward and Delaware, lagi ng firma, ikaw mizo, na pagtilo ang ulo, kiling-kiling, akit. This is Monsignor.
you, sir. Is it open for public comment?
Half a day, Chairman and members of the committee. My name is Nicole Babaka, and I serve as the administrator for the CNMI Small Business Development Center. I am here in support of Mr. De Leon Guerrero's appointment for today. Mr. De Leon Guerrero's tenure in government, as well as his holistic view of various government agencies, will help to ensure that we meet and address the needs of not only Saipan, but Tinian and Rhoda as well. In addition, his leadership abilities is one to be commended. He does definitely have an open door policy, as well as great communication amongst all members within the Department of Commerce. So we thank you in advance and hope he will be confirmed today. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Still open for public comment?
Good afternoon, Honorable Chairman, and this August body's honorable members. My name is Francisco Cabrera. I'm the Director for the CNMI Workers' Compensation Commission Office. I work directly right now, within the last 2 years, and work closely with Mr. Nominee, Mr. Dylan Guerrero, being the registered corporation, and currently right now with the Acting Secretary of Commerce. I'm here to reinforce my support. I've submitted my letter of support previously. And again, with the opening statement remark by Mr. Dylan Guerrero, that triggers a little bit on my end, which I've spoken with him a couple of weeks ago. What he mentioned about the collaboration within the leaderships of the 3 senatorial districts and the resident department heads for Tinian and Rhoda Commerce, it equates basically pursuant to Article 25 of the Constitution that we are to provide a support and administrative guidance to our sister offices of Tinian and Rhoda. Again, I indulge and solicit your full body support to confirm Mr. Dylan Guerrero as our next Secretary of Commerce. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Still open for public comment? Anyone in the gallery or outside the gallery wishes to come in and testify? You're welcome to come in. Once we close public comment, we will not return back to public comment. So this is the opportunity to come forward. Whether you're in support or not in support, you're welcome to come in. No one else? At this time, public comment is now closed. I would like to ask the clerk to please acknowledge those individuals that submitted letters of support or not in support.
Mr. Chairman, members of the Senate EAGI Committee, Mr. Dylan Guerrero, and members of the general public. In addition to the oral testimonies received today and the executive appointment of Mr. Edward M. Dylan Guerrero to serve as the Secretary for the Department of Commerce, please be advised of the additional written testimonies officially received in support of the appointee. From Charlene M. Tenorio, Administrative Officer, Office of the Secretary, Department of Commerce. David R. Maratita, Director, Alcohol, Beverage, and Tobacco Control Division, Department of Commerce. David S. Palacios, Director, Enforcement and Compliance Division, Department of Commerce. Francisco D. Cabrera, Director, Workers' Compensation Commission Division, Department of Commerce. Justin H. Andrews, Personnel, Department of Commerce. Nicole Babalta, Administrator, CNMI Small Business Development Center. Jesus I. Pacific, Personal Testimony. Kiyoshi K. Cody, Economic Development Officer, Department of Commerce. And Mark O. Revolman, Personal Testimony. At this time, no written testimony opposing the appointment of Mr. Dylan Guerrero has been received by the committee. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Julie. At this time, I'd like to recognize the Vice President of the Senate, Senator Justo Kirigua from the 3rd Senatorial District. Saipan, if you have any question or concern, you have the floor, sir.
This is Fossey, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, Mr. Guerrero, and to everyone who are here this afternoon to witness the public hearing on the nomination of Mr. Guerrero for the Secretary of Commerce. Mr. Guerrero, as I stated her opinion, that I will not delve into her background in terms of your education and work experience. It's quite extensive. However, I'm gonna bring issues to you for your attention. Perhaps you have encountered these issues already, and you might be dealing with it. But I will just relate to you for some attention if you get confirmed. And as I indicated in opinion, your personnel in the department is your greatest assets. And the equitable treatment to your employees at Commerce will make sure that your vision and mission will be accomplished to a greater extent. And one of the issues that usually we hear here in the Senate is the implementation of policies across the department. And I request that you take it seriously and see if there's any improvement that needs to be done. And the other issue is collection of data and their readability for distribution or availability for businesses, particularly who are seeking data that will enhance their businesses here in the same way. I raise this because with today's world, it's all about data. If you don't have the data, it's really difficult to justify and to make your business as profitable as you would like to, and to provide the best services to your customers. And this issue, I heard this issue every now and then, is and you were in the director of the corporation, the division, on submission of reports or business plans to Commerce by investors or businesses. And I don't know how true this is, but I didn't hear this from the business themselves, some business themselves, that there are actually two kinds of reports. One is for your office, and one is for the business. But the reports are not the same. So I would like to have you keep that in mind, so that we will have consistency in terms of records that you have in Commerce and the records that the businesses have, and so that we can have equal guidance in terms of business monitoring here in the Commonwealth. And this issue also, bringing this up because this was brought up during one of the committee meetings here in the Senate. by the Director of Customs that there are businesses that change their business license, telephone numbers, addresses, and even business name to avoid paying the excise taxes other than to them. So I must feel that to please work with the Director of Customs, and he can probably provide you more detailed information as to how the two, your department and his division can work together to see if this can be stopped or have a better communication so that the government will not be losing revenues. The other issue is I understand that the department has some drug or controlled substance challenges, and we have also discussed this informally, not particularly your department, but with the Director of OPM, on who is actually responsible to deal with employees with controlled substance challenges that are identified through testing. And my recommendation is that all employees be treated the same. And even the OPM Director mentioned there are times when employees are not treated the same for some reasons. And I suggest that they'll be treated the same. And it is very, very important that there's as was mentioned early this morning about the ARPA, that other than what we are getting from the ARPA funds, there's so much money in different areas under the ARPA. So I recommend that your department work with the Office of Grants Management to take advantage of this available funding outside our share, government share, so that we can enhance commerce here in the Commonwealth. And also, I mentioned this in Tinian that, and this is not only your department, but it happened also in your department about the available federal grants that are being submitted late, and I have seen documents where the grantor agency is giving so many opportunities to complete, and I think no department should take advantage of that, and they should be submitted on time so that we can have the opportunity, especially the people here, to avail to those funding that can help us here in the cinema, particularly in commerce. There's also issues on attendance, and I hope that the policy on employee attendance be enforced fairly and within the department. And this issue we had not only in previous years, and I hope that this year we will do it on time, which is the prevailing ways that are that is task commerce to do. Because businesses, if commerce does not do it on time, then businesses suffer, commerce suffer here in the cinema, and we have seen that happen where it's really, really late, and businesses where they cannot move without the prevailing wage. So please look into that and see if it can be done on time to assist our business owners here in the cinema. And I see that there's a great need in every department here in the Commonwealth for periodic training of staff. And I hope that with the ARPA funds that we get, that you can, if allowable, develop some kind of training opportunities to your staff so that they can upgrade their skills and knowledge on what they do to improve commerce in the same way. So, Mr. Chairman, I will now yield for now and for the other members.
Thank you, Vice President. Recognize Senator Neighbors on Tinian.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, everybody, for finding time to be here today. Thank you, Mr. DeLongero, for accepting the nomination. I don't have questions today to provide you. I wanted to reiterate what I mentioned on Tinian, that I thank you for reaching out to the resident director heads of the respective senatorial districts to kind of get an idea of some of the goals and ideas that they had to kind of take care of their departments. I agree with you in your opening statement, and I thank you for recognizing that though you have a goal already set out, a plan put forward, that you're willing to change and adapt to the necessary needs that are presented to you. So that gives me confidence in how your approach is to this appointment, and I thank you again for accepting the nomination.
Thank you, Senator Neighbors. At this time, I'd like to recognize Senator Vinicius Brown from the Third Senatorial District Session.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good afternoon to everybody present here in your Senate chamber, and as well as the people that are viewing on our media channels today, as we are on air at the moment. Good afternoon again, Mr. DeLongero, our third round today, our last round, and I know I attended both the your ROTA hearing, and Tinian hearing. I was looking at my notes, and I think I've asked you everything that I wanted to ask you in our ROTA hearing, and I know you've been taking notes on the statements and the exchange that we had, and all the recommendations, the questions and ideas that were brought forth. So I won't have any detailed questions today, but I'd just like to kind of reiterate and summarize for you to acknowledge the unique economic attributes of each senatorial district. Again, consider general factors of our economy and recognize the needs of each community. And then, of course, your department is very vital on data. And I mentioned about our census data, if we can get that breakdown, which is very important for us, and we can extract the data that is for the CNMI, because I know that it's a very very big document. So also we talked about promoting local entrepreneurship. Like I said, we are in uncharted territories right now. I mentioned in both senatorial districts that with the absence of our travel industry and our visitor industry, we are our own tourists. We are our own customers, so we have to be able to sustain ourselves. And we're looking forward to working with you and each leadership of each senatorial district. You brought up in your opening statement today, and we were all there this morning at the ARPA presentation. Very exciting, very great presentation. I can only imagine the work that your department is going to be, placed with that. With all the money that's coming in, and not only with the ARPA, there's different fundings like the 23.1 million that came from Department of Commerce, US for the added gym. There's funding through housing funding through CDBG-DR. There's a whole bunch of funds that are coming from our federal government, and we're blessed with that. So we got to really kind of grab that by the horn and drive the decisions to improve our economy. This is the chance now, and I think that the Department of Commerce is going to be very busy in gathering data, collecting data, and also just managing all the data. There's going to be a lot of changes coming, to our economy, and we're all looking forward to that. So, I'm confident that you'll drive the department to where it's supposed to be and where it could be with all these funds coming in. So I don't have much, but I was looking at your citizen-centric report, and I know this was from 2020 centric report, and there was department accomplishments, and those are great. It's a great list of accomplishments under the department, and I applaud your staff and your leadership at Commerce for pulling through with those accomplishments. But there are also stated in the report are the department challenges. So I hope and I'm confident that you can make those decisions and bring those solutions to curb those challenges and exchange them and make them accomplishments. So with that, I don't have any more questions. We have a busy road ahead with right now $481 million that we have to show for. So I'm hoping and I'm confident that your department under your leadership will drive data and really keep that data. It's going to be important because at one point in time, we have to anticipate that these monies will stop coming in, and I think we have to make those decisions now using this money coming in, the ARPA money, to get to self-sustainability within our Commonwealth. And I think that's the goal. Like in the presentation this morning, we were made aware of how we can use that money, how we shouldn't, and what facets of our government it's going to improve. So, we all got to work together. And like I said, the Department of Commerce is going to be a huge factor in this. So I'd just like to make sure and be comforted that with your leadership and your great staff, that we'll kind of trek through this journey that we have. So thank you. I yield, Mr.
Thank you, Florida. At this time, I'd like to recognize the Vice Chairman, Senator Hoko from the First Senatorial District, Lota.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And good afternoon again to everyone that are present with the appointee to witness the testimony and the concern of the committee. And I'd like to extend on behalf of the committee our appreciation also to the governor's representative following the road for confirmation with regards to the appointee, Mr. Edward Leon Guerrero, from far north, south to the end north. So we have that. I know that it's a lengthy road, to get into confirming the appointee. But with your interest to help this department, it is only natural that we bring you to Roten, Tinian, and Jen Saipan, as you will be the head honcho of the Commonwealth Department of Commerce, despite the fact that Amendment 25 empowered the mayor for their own. But in reality, Department of Commerce, both Rhode and Tinian, will have to rely also from the central government, which is the position that you are appointed. And I've shared some of my concern, most particularly for Rhode and Tinian. Not much here at Saipan regarding the proposed project that I'd like the Commerce to look into is the gas on scale. So please follow that up and don't forget, how do we implement that and revitalize that program to help our farmers and fishermen to market their productivity, And I know, Mr. Guerrero, that we are fortunate, the Commonwealth is fortunate to have received this grant. Because if it's not for this, you're gonna have a difficult time, composing all the committee's requests. But with this funding, I will say that we do have now a real vision moving forward, with our commerce, and that will really inspire most of the sectors where the department be engaging to help them move forward with their business industries. One thing that I'd like also to put this as a request for the information of the member is the census statistics. And if you have the time for the personnel to look into and see whether we can provide a number of different ethnicities living in the Commonwealth, so that we would like to really ensure how many of our CNMI descent are here, how many are from other areas. And we really treasure our NMD, but there are mixtures of understanding out in the community regarding the funds that is being received by MPLT to the general fund. And that's where we like to see how we can correct what they are saying a mistake, of recipient for NMD regarding public land leases, that MPLT are being deposited to MPLT and further invested for the benefit of the NMD and the Commonwealth government. So just take a note on that and see if you have the time with your staff to develop that kind of statistics. And the other one that I'm a little bit concerned of is our CPI and DPD. On Title 1 under Division 2, subsection 2456, every 2 years some report regarding our DPD or CPI, and that also will help future legislative salary increase, because that's where the problem is, that in the past several years they tried to increase their salary, but our composite index did not allow us to raise the salary of the legislator. So I think during that time, it will take 2 years before anyone can really think to see if they can make a salary increase to the legislators. But it all depends again on our CPI and GPD. So these are the important issues that I see with all these ARPA funds, that we can develop more realistic development that will enhance our Commonwealth in the years to come as we prepare for the exiting of this assistance in the near future. And we are really hopeful that by utilizing these funds, that will place us as seedlings, for the Commonwealth to prepare for the next 2 years to ensure that they can be self-sustained and be more profitable for the business community as well as for government revenue to ensure the delivery of public services. So with that, I understand that you are really anxious to get your position and as a real Secretary of Commerce. But I'd like also to applaud the division directors. That there are many times whether you have a good secretary or not as good secretary, we do have and witness division directors that there are times that they make full front the color of position rather than the color of public service. So maybe with the new leadership that you will be directing your division, that your division staff can make this full front to ensure that making your work a lot easier, as their work is that they have to come together and provide the real assistance, and not to be too colorful regarding their position. Because after all, I don't care what position we are in, we're all here for the interest of the people. And if a position will interrupt the public service, then what that will do is eventually chase out our potential investment. And we don't need that. We need us actually to ensure also to deregulate some of the regulation that makes our investors difficult to come in. I don't want to defund what they think to defund the police. I don't want to defund, the department for not encouraging investment. Rather, we should nurture this assistance from the federal government and make good use of it so we can put our Commonwealth in good footing maybe a year, 2 years from today. So with this infusement of new gas that is coming in, this may help also to reconsider the once upon a time a legislation that will increase the salary of our legislators. So that is critical, I don't know whether all that are serving today are happy, with their salary, present salary, despite of the abundance of criticism from the community. And most of this criticism came along, which they are not really have the knowledge to understand the system of how we come up with this kind of legislation or regulation. Their expectation is so high. And even with this small salary, everybody is busting their butts, trying to make ends meet to really help the people of the Commonwealth. So by creating this new era of leadership in your department that will bond your division and work alongside each other, will pave the way to other divisions to come together and work with other departments likewise. So with that, Mr. Guerrero, I do have all the confidence in you that you can make this change. And I know that change is difficult and it's difficult to be accepted. But without change, we cannot grow up we can only grow old. And we don't want to continue to grow old without growing up and understand the system. So with that, I will raise and thank you also for the journey that you have come along with us to make sure that the public understand your position as to how your service will be rendered both to the business community and to other departments. And like the other members' recommendation is that work along with other departments, that you have some collaboration so that we can expedite delivery of public services. So with that, I yield, Mr. Chairman, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Anyone else wishes to recognize Vice President Kirwa?
This was Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, just to follow up on Chairman Cook's comments on your departments work together. Since I came in the Senate, this is my second term, the hardest thing that I found out is to try to make department heads work together. It is really difficult, both autonomous and line departments. So perhaps with the management skills and the knowledge that you have, it will be much easier for you to perhaps start the communication with the other departments and see if working together, and it's always working together, that will make a lot of difference to provide the services to our people. And I truly believe that being a secretary or the director of a department or agency is that two things is you have to be a good listener. That's all your staff to know that, and not to go into the detail. And the other one, that a lot of department heads and agencies usually forget is the use of common sense management. And those two, together with your skills and knowledge, will really go a long way into seeing much improvement in commerce and building better working relationships with the other departments and agencies. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I would like to thank Mr. Guerrero. He's been in government service for a long time, and he's still willing to provide his time and services to the people of the Commonwealth. And the Department of Commerce is already getting too old, and you can see the building there. And now with new and fresh leadership, I think the Chairman Rocco is correct that the department and the building is getting too old, and now the services should be more advanced and enhanced for the people and the businesses that come. Again, I would like to reiterate that Department of Commerce is one of the most important agencies in the government. That's a major role that your department can confirm, and will play a major role in the recovery of the CNY out of the ARPA or federal ARPA funds. And there's one thing that I forgot to mention is that there's a situation that was brought to my attention 2 weeks ago. And I hope that this thing be looked at and perhaps not be repeated, where a license is issued by the Department of Commerce, that the actual license to operate has expired. So the entity is seeking assistance, how they can continue to operate when their general license has expired, yet they have this partial license of commerce that was issued. So I think it would be good for Commerce to do a little research for any entity or business or investors that come in to seek a license as part of their general license, to make sure that their general license has not expired. Because when it was presented, the documents were presented to me, I had to say to the individuals that I cannot help it because their license has expired, but they're claiming that Commerce gave them already this license, one of the licenses that is required. And I have to make them understand that probably it's an oversight by Commerce that they were given this particular license that they need, but they don't really have any license anymore to operate the Commonwealth. So that's just a reminder so that they can really look into the other requirements of businesses before they issue the license required for Commerce. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Vice President. Recognized Vice Chairman Hope.
Yeah, in line with Senator JQ, also Director, I'd like you to look into it, whether is it correct that banking institutions are limited for business in the cinema, or is it open to more banking institutions to be established in the cinema? Because I'm hearing that you cannot have another bank in Rhoda or Tinian or here, so I was wondering what happened to the Asian Pacific, or what we call that bank before? That opened here and then left, and I don't know what happened to the Hong Kong. Yeah, the Hong Kong. I don't know whether that if it's a quota, whether that's still valid for another business banking institution that wants to establish here. So maybe you can look into that one too and see. And with that, before I shut my mouth, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to recognize the President, Congresswoman Babauta, is here with us, and thank you for coming to hear the committee work with the family. Thank you for making time. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Vice. And again, good afternoon, Mr. Guru. I know that I've raised a concern at the first and second public hearing, and I wish that you look into those, and maybe perhaps if you have gathered those information, maybe you can, email to us, and as well as the concern of the members. And in regards to commodities at any business establishment, do you play a role together with the public health in regards of different amenities in that particular establishment? Because it was raised to my attention in regards to a establishment that have all kinds of commodities inside, and the concern is very legitimate. the selling groceries, frozen. At the same time, there's some construction materials and what we call is oil for lubrications, all those things that have been raised. Do you play a role with public health, whether or not that is that will pose a health hazard to the consumer?
Well, I know that ABTC and other enforcement work together also with enforcement from public health. And that will be a concern that we will definitely bring up and see, what can do to, to ensure that those kind of commodities are they actually authorized to be sold at that, what are the requirements that need to be followed in order for you to sell those commodities. And we will certainly look into that with CSCC public health.
Thank you. This concern is not to drive away business community or shut down businesses, but it's a very legitimate concern with regards to public health that they have raised, and I believe that should be looked into whether that is allowable, and even selling cement within the same attached structure. So I ask that you look into that, whether or not that one is allowable, and if it's not, then I think we should advise and separate that from food commodities. Thank you. If there's any other members that wishes to recognize Vice President.
My last comment, Mr. Chairman, I know that it was mentioned earlier by the members about the census. And Mr. Guerrero, is the census already officially certified and ready for distribution, the census?
I'm not sure at this moment on that, but I know that the prevailing wage survey has just been submitted in. And actually the deadline was July 1st, but we submitted them out from Saipan and from the Marianas. And in terms of the other census, whether it's finalized already or not, I really don't have the information this time. But I will check with the census section and
Yes, because the census data is very, very important, especially for the legislature. So the Constitution requires the legislature to look at the census every 10 years and decide whether the legislature, particularly the House, needs to be redistricted or the representatives be reduced or be increased. So we appreciate it. If that's already certified and ready for release, perhaps you can send that copy to our presiding officer in the Senate, Senator Duke Snyder, so we can so that we can examine the. It is important for the elections to know the results of that's the official census results every 10 years. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Vice President. This time of concern and question raised by the committee is closed. At this time of public comments, I will take and let the record reflect that there are also written testimonies submitted from individuals in support of the appointee. Before this committee, and will be included in the Senate Standing Committee recommendation report, along with all testimonies received today, and to be forwarded before the full Senate members in consideration for confirmation or rejection. And before we adjourn, I would like to extend, on behalf of the members of this committee, our sincere appreciation and gratitude to Governor Torres and Lieutenant Governor Palacios' representative, Mr. Kevin Bautista, and the appointee, Mr. Edward M. De Longuerero. and most especially the members of the general public for your participation and involvement during this important public hearing process. And we certainly hope that we continue this dialogue of communication between us, the elected officials, and the public to keep you abreast that relates to public best interest. This concludes this public hearing for today. Do I hear a motion for adjournment? And a second? There's a motion for adjournment and was seconded. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. This public hearing is now adjourned. Thank you.
Okay, so,